Is my mic weird?
I mean, no.
Okay, because sometimes this mic goes weird.
Weird how?
As in, like, I sound like a robot.
Oh, no. I mean...
I'm tired, so my voice sounds like...
Oh, yeah, I was going to say your voice sounds different, but you don't sound like a robot. Hey there, everybody. Thank you for joining this episode of the B-Bore podcast. I'm Brittany.
I'm Maria. And today I finally get to rave about Parasite because Brittany finally watched it this week.
Well, yeah, because it's like super long, but it's so worth it.
It's not that long.
It's 2 hours. It's like over 2 hours long.
Okay, but have you seen like Wolf of Wall Street? That's like 3 hours. That's
Right.
like long.
But I never watched that in one sitting.
That's true. I watched it once on a plane ride, like because I go to Asia.
Yeah.
So like 3 hours out of like a 12-hour flight, like that's a majority, like that's a good chunk of like the flight time. But if I was actually watching it here, like at home, yeah, I get it. Like I probably wouldn't watch it in one sitting.
Okay, so let me tell you what. When you first showed me the trailer, remember how I told you I felt super uncomfortable and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. It seems so scary.
Yeah, the trailer, yeah. It's a scary trailer.
But like there's the level of suspense. Okay, there was one specific part that like actually made me scared. Like was a horror movie scared.
Was it
the cake
with the kid?
I wasn't.
You weren't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting to see his eyes.
No, it's so creepy. I hated that part.
And the thing was, I literally, because like the music gets creepy and like what's gonna happen, something's gonna happen, something bad's gonna happen. So I'm sitting on my couch to give you a visual. Mm-hmm. We have like a big ass screen. I'm sitting on my couch and I feel it coming because you know how we talked about me and like sounds.
Yeah.
So it's dark and then like I just knew it. So I'm like sitting there going like this. Like waiting.
Yeah, just like inching away.
And then I go like, this is what I do when I get scared in a movie.
I do this all the time. When I'm like watching, I'm like.
And I made the terrible choice. I was like, it's really quiet because like there's no like moment in it.
No, there's no like jump scare.
Noise. Just, like, I like opened my fingers like this, look through just at the moment when his eyes came out, and they did such a good job with it. Like I was to the point of where like even after the movie was over, I can still see it in my head, and I was like, I was uncomfortable all night. Did you see
my Instagram story last night? I was watching it last night.
Oh, were you? So that was literally the only part that was actually like horror related.
Yeah. Everything else was just suspense. It wasn't like scary.
Yeah, but and it's like the suspense of real life.
Yeah, it's not like the supernatural or like sci-fi or whatnot. It's like real people.
The stressors of life that you have to experience that are stressful, and like being in like turmoil and like family dynamics and like personal I think almost one of my favorite aspects of it are like how it's happening to everybody, but like you see like a personal journey for each person.
Yeah, and, like you don't hate any of them.
No,
really.
But
throughout the whole thing.
I love the whole like backstory aspect of like their dad.
Yeah.
Like the level of like I feel like it really, as much as it was like it was happening to the son, right?
Yeah.
Like I really thought it was a story about like his dad.
Yeah. I know they portrayed it as like you would think the son would be the main character throughout the whole thing, but then really it was like kind of like their dad. Like
because
it was
the only person that I feel like you saw those moments for.
Yeah.
Him.
Right. Like he was trying to learn lessons and like do like it was his journey.
And like you saw like behind the scenes of, like his deeply rooted like turmoil and like his feelings about himself and like those moments where he was struggling, like you saw that through him because like both of his kids like were able to just figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Or like
they were trying. Like they
especially the part where they were drunk. Right? Yeah. Very clearly, like the daughter was just figure it out. Like who cares about anybody else? Like she had that like super jaded sense, and like the son was such a dreamer, so he was gonna do whatever he had to do. But like the dad was like super just like lived his life, you know, and like experienced everything and like had so much weight on his shoulders. So like I enjoyed that. Like his character was probably like one of my favorites in the whole thing.
How do you feel about like the rich family and how like they portray them as, like you were saying, like they were like dumb, not like dumb, but like oblivious. Or like, how about like the son's college friend? He was like, the mom's very simple.
But and then I was confused. Yeah, and I saw her as being like very much like American Housewife.
Yeah, because like she doesn't work.
But I was also confused about that one comment about like her asking about drugs.
Oh, that was with the whole car thing when they got the guy fired.
Yeah, but she was saying she wanted drugs.
That whole scene was so uncomfortable.
I know, but I was literally watching it, and that was the only thing that I could think of. I was like, what does she mean she wants? Then I was like, is she like?
I don't want to know. Is she like a drug addict?
Right. Like, is she
like she a druggie? I want to put it past them. They're like rich. They have the money for it.
Right, but there's also like this big connection between like women in America who like have wealthy places that like don't have something of their own to work towards, like they end up being alcoholics or they have like a drug abuse, you know what I mean? So I was like, I wonder if there's that, because then there were those moments where like she would be like depressed outside, you know what I mean? Yeah. She looked like she was going through walls or something. So I was like, is there something, like I wanted more
of their backstory?
Yeah, I wanted to know more about like how they got so wealthy.
I mean, it was based on the poor family, so you can't
right, and like their perceptions of them. So like it definitely makes sense. I like how they said, you know, like they're rich, they don't have any cares, like all of that. They like alluded to, like the level of like naivety they had, and like not realizing what was happening under their house, and like not realizing
that whole thing's crazy.
Like that level of like just being so involved in yourself and so involved in the world that you like lack the ability to see what's going on.
And they lack understanding of everything else.
Right. Yeah. And like just when you look at a kid, and I also like the levels of parenting, right? When you look at a kid and you just want to like give him everything and you don't understand or see what's actually happening and the trends that are happening.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting, the relationship that like, why can't I remember what did he go by?
Kevin?
Yes. I was like, what did he go? I was like, I remember her.
Kevin and Jessica?
I remember her going by Jessica. I couldn't remember his name. But like the relationship that the two of them had with their parents.
Compared to,
versus like granted there was like an age difference, right? But like the way that they were able to talk about things, and like it was just.
But still, you can still feel it. I mean, they have the poor family, the Kim family still has a better, like they can talk to their parents.
Yeah.
Like the Park family or the rich family or whatever, like they're younger, but also like they don't talk to their parents.
Right.
Like they're more arguing with them half the time than like.
It was very clear that they don't understand each other, or like the mom had like certain expectations about how she wanted them to be, and if you don't meet those expectations, then like that's it. And I wonder, I think that's a bigger. I don't think that's just like a wealth thing. I think that's just like a family thing, or like
that's a
right?
whole
like
that's a family thing.
Yeah, it's definitely like interdependent of like wealth. But I thought that was really, there are so many different dynamics that movie played on.
And the story was not like, you did not expect any of that. No, going into it, right? Like the whole, when the plot twist, you're like, what is this?
Total disclaimer, because if we're really going to talk about this, we're going to talk about this. So if you haven't seen this movie yet,
spoilers everywhere.
Please don't listen to the rest of this podcast. Go and watch the movie and then come back and listen.
It's on Hulu now.
And that's how I watched it. And then get involved. Like that was so serendipitous. Because like I don't have time to watch this, and I was like, oh wait, I can find it now. Because I was going to watch it on that link that you sent me, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to commit to this. Hulu makes it convenient. That's not a plug on Hulu. We do not sponsor. They're not sponsoring us, but just saying. The moment with the biggest shift to me, where I was like, what is happening right now, was the flood. I was not ready for that. And I guess it got to the point where, and it was so, I think it was so brilliant in the writing, because it really seemed like what they experienced in the house was going to be the climax of the movie. And it ended up being like 6 other climaxes after that. And
the ending was just ridiculous.
Yeah, like my thoughts as they were getting home, right? And like seeing what their journey was like, I was like, oh my God, they're so far away still. Watching that journey and then
it was beautifully filmed.
In my mind, I was thinking to myself, like, I was like, you think what happens next, but like you think in such a long term because like something crazy just happened, like they have to recalibrate and go after, like figure it out again. But I think it was so true to life too, because like you try to plan, you try to come up with ideas, and then life happens, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like a tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. Movie. But like I think it so really nicely echoed that, and watching that moment, like the level of emotion that like I felt watching them go through. And again, like you only really saw the emotion from the dad, right? The kids were trying to deal.
I mean, Jessica was literally, when she found everything flooded, she was like, fuck this, I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette.
Yeah, and so, that part was fucking gross. But like, yeah, it just like the level, and I think it's interesting because it also brings up this level of like, I think it's something that I personally experienced too, which is why I guess I felt it so much when like the dad was like, I think shit was happening and he was trying to, he like was saying goodbye essentially. Like I think it talks about like generations too, right? We get so caught up in like social media and so caught up in like
our phones and whatnot.
Being able to disconnect ourselves from the way that we're feeling sometimes and like pushing it down. Which brings me to another idea. Okay. And pushing it down that like we can just kind of, because I've had those moments where I like sitting in and I'm like, all right, I'm going to pretend that this isn't happening right now. You know what I mean? And like, I think it's so easy to be able to do that when things feel really heavy, but then it was so interesting. I feel like you never saw, or like she never expressed any emotion at all really during the movie. And then at the end, all she can say is like, it hurts. Yeah. I was like,
that sums up everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's
I've never seen that take. That's funny you say that, because that makes sense.
That's what she always wanted to say.
Yeah.
Because even when she got drunk and she was so mad at her brother for talking about everybody else and worrying about other people, like she was drinking. Like, right? She was drinking.
She was downing that
herself. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then her really being able to open up and say like, this, it hurts, don't do that, like it hurts, and like being uncomfortable and having to be in it, like not having a choice, you know. So like her story too just really talks about how like there's a level of being able to say, right, like when you don't face the things that are like bringing you to like wanting to get distracted, like that could be what kills you, right? Because then she was so distracted when everything was happening and like the guy was coming, like she had no
idea.
You know what I mean? She wasn't
she was doing her job.
So like I thought, like I really feel like each individual person's story in that family was just so like had its own kind of moral in it. And like with Kevin's, like
he wanted to marry rich.
I wasn't the first, like I was so surprised to see that was another thing that I wasn't expecting, like to see him I thought he was killed, and to see that like he was the first person, I feel like that was the first point that I was really like, oh, this isn't really his story.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Because you're like, wait, if he's dead, right, what, like, is that it? Like, what happens after? I was like, how is this like, is everyone just going to start mourning? Like, what? Yeah. But then the whole thing played out, and you're like, oh, just kidding. Yeah. It's not the dad.
And it's like, when do you see somebody who's brought out as the protagonist have, like, the bad thing happen? Like bad things, like, first. Not, like, yeah, right. Like, how do you see, you don't see that happening. So when that happened, I was just like, I in my mind, I was like, no, he didn't do that. Like, he's totally.
Yeah, but then he like, fucking throws a rock down, and you're like, that's it.
Also, like, a level of irony that, like, that's what he used, right? Because he had like, a similar.
I love that metaphor.
Thing that he, like, clutched onto. And then the way he was talking about it at the end, when he's like, it won't let go of me, I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
All of that was just so ironic. But yeah, I think you're right.
I think he meant well. He definitely meant well for, like, the family when he got this job, right? Like,
yeah.
Then he met the parents, and he was like, yeah, they're super gullible. Like, they're super gullible. This girl is cute. I was like, I don't even know what the age gap is if she's in high school, and I guess
I was really weirded out by it because he was saying how he was a sophomore in high school.
So
I was like, ooh.
In Korea, there's, I think, only 3 levels of high school. So like she's like a junior for us, I think. We can fact check that, actually.
The age doesn't really matter at this point, but...
In essence, I think he was just going to college. Like, so, like, I want to say, like, maybe, like, 3-4 year age difference. Yeah. And realistically, it's not, like, far-fetched, but...
No.
But, yeah, once he was, like, I guess dating the girl, like, he was like, yeah, I'm definitely, like, you know, we'll be rich by the time, like, this will be my house, like, we'll live here, like, all this stuff.
He, like, got caught up in it.
He got way too caught up in it. And,
But I love it. It's also true, like, is that the...
Was that his end goal?
No, but is that the parasite?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, the whole thing about, like, naming a parasite, like, is it the rich or the poor, or is it, like, everyone, or is it no one?
But
like,
it's also,
is it
like,
society? Like...
But if you think about it, right, like, if you think about parasites, if you think about that concept, like, if it attaches to the host, right?
Yeah. Who's the host?
It feeds off the host to make it...
Live.
Right, to survive, right?
Yeah.
And in my mind, right, the parasite was planted in Kevin, right? And the parasite itself was, like, his desire to want to have that
the
life,
rock,
right? Because it wouldn't have...
I think it was the rock.
Maybe the rock was cursed.
Or, like, his friend.
He's the parasite.
If his friend never brought that job to his attention, they could just be making pizza boxes.
Right. But at the same time, it's like that flood still would have affected them. You know what I mean? Like, it's still...
Yeah. That would have just sucked. Yeah.
Those predictions are so hard to make. Yeah, it would have just sucked. But it's like... It's kind of like the idea... It's kind of like having a contagion, too, right? Like, something is planted in you, and then you share it with somebody else, and you shared it with his sister. And then he shared it with his dad, and then he shared it with his mom.
Yeah.
You know? And
they could have... Adding their mom into the mix was overkill.
I know. I literally was just like, in my mind, I was like, just stop. But, like, that's kind of the...
But, like, you got so caught up into it that, like, okay, we can do this. Like, they're so gullible that we can totally do this.
They were talking about, like, the amount of income that we get from these people.
Yeah.
You know, like, we could be, like, in their place one day. Like, I don't think it's a them or them type of situation. That's the parasite. It's like the ignorance, and it's like the greed, and it's like
it's the money talking. Yeah.
Right. It's like the parasite is when you try to take the human out of being human.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, and you see it, right? And you could even argue, like, the guy in the basement becomes a parasite.
Oh my God. Can we talk about that plot twist? Because, like, I was thinking when I was watching this, so I saw it in theaters before all the hype came out, like, and it went on its second run in theaters after, like, all the nominations happened. So I was sitting in the theater, I'm like, I still don't understand where the story's going. Like, they all have the jobs, like, all right, it seems weird that, like, now they're in this house together while the family's out, like, for the son's birthday.
I knew something was gonna happen, though.
I was like, I know they're gonna get caught. Yeah. I was like, I know they're gonna get caught, like, something's gonna happen, and then they're probably gonna, I don't know what this redemption story is gonna be like, whatever. Because at that point, I was like, all right, they're all gonna be fine, right? Like, I was like, there's something, like, there's no way. But then the old, like, housekeeper comes in, and I'm like, fuck.
I thought she was gonna murder them. That's what I thought. This is where the horror movie comes in, because she's coming.
I was like, this is where someone's gonna die. Like, I was like, because she looked disheveled, number one. Like, right, and also, you don't know what happened to her after she left. That's also part of the story.
She looked beat up. Like, you could see.
She looked like she got beat up, which means, and then when you find out,
kind of why.
And then when you find out that her husband's in the fucking basement. That I was like floored. I was like, I don't know where this is going. Like,
I couldn't. And
you couldn't blame them for keeping him there if that's all.
No. It gets to the point where it's like,
I was like, yeah, you can stay there.
You dug your hole. Like, you're not coming out of this well if you don't do something about it. But I mean,
right. And, like, I wish I knew what happened to her but they kind of alluded to it that, like, all the loan sharks are still looking for him.
After her. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I just, like,
floored. I was like, I didn't expect this at all.
And the thing was, I really wanted there to be a sense of, like, I watch it again to be like, oh yeah, I could have seen that coming, but there was none of that. Like, absolutely.
The only thing that you can even, I don't even, like, maybe with the son being the way that he is, being all weird and neurotic and, like, running around. But, like, even so, that's such a stretch.
There was no connection to, like,
there's such a stretch.
And the thing is, I'm that person that would have been that asshole that would have been watching and be like, there's something in the basement that he's afraid of. But there's literally no connection. All you see
But there's no connection because no one goes down there. Like, literally no one goes down there.
All you see is there, like, the pictures that he draws.
Yeah.
And there's still no connection to that. Like, there's no way that you could
pinpoint the basement being anything.
The thing that, like, did get me in terms of, like, the creepiness, they did such a good job of portraying that too, the way they set the scene up and everything, like the setting. Whenever they showed, like, somebody in the area where the basement was always creepy looking.
Yeah, because the dining room table, whoever is usually sitting at the dining room table, they're literally in front of the basement, so it's like black behind them,
and you see it, and you're like, why did, all I could think to myself while I was watching is like, why does the basement seem so fucking creepy? Like, you know what I mean?
Also very far away. It seems very depth, like the depth perception on that basement is like, it seems very, like, there's so much down there.
Yeah, and
but
like,
it's so
why
dark.
doesn't it have a door? That was my first question. I was like, where does that room go? Why is there, like, a big black dark? And, like, and the thing is, and it was all intentional because, like, when you see somebody go down into the basement, like, you can see the light in the kitchen. So, like, they lit it like that on purpose, right?
Yeah.
It obviously wouldn't have been like that naturally. They did that on purpose to give this, like, sense of, like, ooh, what's down here? And then when you start watching people go downstairs, I'm like, oh, there's got to be something down there. And then you're like, wait, it's totally normal down here. So, like,
it's just a storage area. The first time you see the basement, it's like, all right, there's, like, tea down there. There's, like,
there's nothing scary down.
There's, like,
it was so... I was waiting for it, and then the way that it came, I was not expecting it.
Yeah.
I literally, after it ended, and I wasn't sure, like, how it was, even the end. No, like, you think there's a happy ending, and then you're like, oh, fuck. Mm-hmm. Like,
you feel bad.
Even the end, I literally, it stopped, and, like, I had watched it. I watched it on a night when, like, Dan was at work. Like, he came home, like, as I was watching the end of it, and I was like,
don't look at this.
And I, like, was sitting there for a second. I was like, I said, okay. Alex said to myself, what the fuck just happened? Like, what did I just watch?
Oh my god, when I left the movie theater, I watched it with Kate and Ashley, and I literally left, and I was like, and we were all like, that was weird. Like, that was it, because I don't think for me, like, not that I'm, you know, I don't know how they felt, but, like, for me, I was like, it took me, like, 2 days to process. I was like, what did I just watch?
Yep.
Oh, how creepy was the husband that lives in the basement? How creepy was it when he would turn on the light for for the rich dad? For Mr. Park. Like, that's his religion. Like, think about it. Like, that's his God.
I don't know, why did he do that again? What was his reasoning behind it?
He was so, like, throughout the whole movie, you think that the lights coming into the house were motion censored.
Yeah.
Right? And then you find out, no, it's actually
I honestly really didn't pay attention to them until that moment.
The lights?
The lights.
Really? I really
didn't pay attention to them.
It's something that you don't pay attention to, obviously, but, like, when he comes in, like, the lights turn on.
Right.
But also, before you find out that he's on pushing the light buttons or whatever, I think there's a scene there is like, all right, this light is kind of
She says something about it being faulty. Yeah.
Yeah, really, we should go see.
I was thinking, like, it's motion centered and, like, it's, like, I would have thought the same thing she did.
Say it again?
I would have thought the same thing she did.
I mean, yeah, no, but then, like, you
move into the
pay
house
attention
and you think
to
it's
it.
motion censored. Yeah, I mean, yeah, after a while, you should... But that's, like, the level of, like, ignorance again. Like, after a while, you should notice that, like, the lights don't go on for anybody else or my husband.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you're in the house all the time, like, that's fucking weird. So, yeah, it's just, like, a level of ignorance.
Or no one goes down the entrance that much except for the husband. Like, but in essence, how creepy is that he chants every time he hits the light?
But was it because he was
thanking him. He was like...
In essence, it was because, like, he's the reason why he gets food and why he lives there, right?
Right, and then when he, like, dies at the end, he, like, thanks him, and he's like, do I know you?
Yeah.
Like, that's creepy. People are watching you, and they can fucking follow all your moves, and, like, they can thank you, and you don't even know that these people exist. Like, it's so creepy.
You just gave me, like, a super weird feeling in my stomach that I don't appreciate. Thank you.
Think about it though. I mean, and not to this extent that like someone's living in your basement.
But yeah, I think to a certain extent we do have that like ability now because of like technology and social media. Like you never really know who's watching you.
Yeah.
Like to a certain extent, like even with this, right? Like we never know
who's watching us here. Yeah.
Right. Like he obviously had cracked, right? And like being under there and like the level of like.
And also he saw his wife die.
And it's also interesting. He had his own consideration of who the parasite was.
Yeah.
Right. Like the Kim family was the parasite because they ruined what he and his wife
had.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So like that was super interesting. And it's just like it's a level of talking about like where power is placed with like classism and like aside from the fact that like you work for somebody who pays you, right? Like the maid that lives in the house. Like to what extent there's no level of fingers crossed where like you would be in a situation where you have what you have only because of somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, besides that relationship with you and your employer, I don't
like where you can put them as to seeing them as like a
besides like your parents. Yeah, I don't
even do that like it's just such a weird way to
it's
look.
Unique.
It's such a yeah, like you said, like your parents, it's such a childish way to look at it, right? Like to just have this like blind sense of like gratitude and dedication to somebody because you don't know, and also like a level of, like he doesn't know anything else, like he never that's all he knew in life
because he was down there for like years.
Down there. The most disturbing part of that movie was probably like having experiences and watching him and like seeing him mumble and see the way he like seeing how disturbed he was.
Yeah,
made me so uncomfortable. And then I wasn't surprised at all when he came out of when he got out. I was not surprised. I was like, that's it, they're dead.
Yeah, when Kevin went down there, I was like, you're dead. Like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you think you're going to do with this rock.
But that's, again, too, part of, like, he got lost in, like, the fantasy of it, right?
Like, he just wanted to kill this guy so that, like, he could keep his job, like, they could be rich and blah, blah, blah.
He was so naive and got so desperate. Like, I thought they handled that situation so poorly, but, like, they weren't going to handle it any better because of, like, the egos they developed.
Exactly. It was all money.
Which is why I feel like that becomes like right, like that's what becomes the parasite. Like it's not the people, it's
it's like society and like the economy and like just like that capitalism is structured or whatever.
So I thought all of that was just there were so it was such an onion. Like there were so many like layers.
There's so many layers and like it's so mind-boggling that like I don't know how long this movie was, 2-hour movie, portrayed so many stories. But, like, it didn't seem far-fetched. Like, none of the plot, like, because, I watch a lot of movies, and, like, at some points, I'm like, I think I know what's going to happen. Like,
and I couldn't do that at all. I would have done it. I couldn't do that at all in this movie.
Because, like...
At that moment where I saw him come out of the basement, I was like, he's murdering someone.
Okay, well, yes. After that, I was like, all right, now everyone's dead, but, like, how are they going to resolve it? Was, like, the next question. Was, like, does everyone just die, and, like, that's it? Like...
I also would have liked to know, too, I think, what happened to the family after the dad got killed. But, okay, so tell me about, like, because I don't know too much about, like, that's how you got me to, like, be interested in watching it to begin with. You were telling me a little bit about, like, the awards and the nominations it's gotten and what kind of, like, we talked about the issues that it raised, right? But, like, what...
I think so, yeah.
...getting on Hulu, because I feel like that's a huge thing, the fact that he was able to do that.
I know, and so, because I'm such an advocate for Asian Americans and just Asian representation in general. So I heard about this movie because I think I watched a trailer on Twitter. Like, that's usually how I get, like, all my movie news now is just Twitter. But I saw this trailer on Twitter, and at the end, it said it won Best Film for the festival in France, like that big one in Cannes or whatever. Cannes? And so I watched a trailer, and I was like, I need to see this now. And this was months before it came to America, I think. So when it finally came and it was playing around here, I was like, I need to go. So I grabbed, Kate and Ashley. I was like, we're going. Like, I don't care. Like, we're going. And so then I watched it, and I was like, holy shit, like, this deserves every fucking award possible. Because I've never seen a movie like that. Like, it was just so well portrayed or whatever. And it's so cool for me to see foreign language films played in like just a random Lowe's or an AMC like theater, because even some Filipino films come over here and like I have to go travel to like Elizabeth which is fine. That's not far if you think about it compared to everywhere else, but it's just still so cool to have people watch like Asian language films in America. So then the hype came, and then award like film festival came or whatever. It obviously won best film for the Oscars. I think where else did they win? He got best director. I'm looking right now. Best original screenplay. Like all these international awards too, besides like the Oscars. But I think the thing that really bothered, I guess, them and like a few people was that the cast weren't nominated for any acting award at the Oscars. Which I think that in itself is probably, a lot of people criticize the Academy Awards for doing that because it's usually not people of color being awarded or being nominated, not even awarded, but like being nominated. Even if you think about the feminist movement, like
I know they had so many issues with that too. Like it's not
the best director
is not surprising in any way at this point.
No, so, and it's funny because the director Bong Joon-ho is his name. He like thinks that the Academy Awards are just local thing. Like he's like, I don't care. This isn't a film festival. Like this is great for us, but also I want the cast to be nominated. That's great. Like if they are, and like it sucks if they aren't. But also he really called out the Academy a few weeks before. He's like, yeah, this is just like, so it's not like the Cannes like film festival. Like it's not a film festival. It's just like Hollywood, whatever, fine.
Right. Yeah.
And then he won all these awards, so it was great.
It's just a bunch of white elitist opinions. Yeah. That's all it is.
But like, yeah, that sucks that like Asian actors aren't being recognized.
My hope is that like the cast that was a part of the movie gets recognition from people that are in Hollywood, and they get brought into like future roles in like bigger.
They're great.
That can put them out there and have more representation. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you just dive into like Netflix, like they have a bunch of foreign films and foreign TV shows. Like those, and I feel
Asian like Netflix
actors
has so much good representation of just different.
For sure, and like I watched so many Filipino films on Netflix. It's great. Yeah, I love it.
I have to dive into like more international things. Did you watch, speaking of Netflix, this is also not plugs, but I really enjoyed this and I devoured it way too quickly. Did you watch Never Have I Ever?
Not yet.
I like shows and things. Like I have those moments where like I just want to dive into like what it, like those awkward and terrible high school experiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the level of, it's not just about that, but like the level of like culture that they bring.
Yeah. I need to watch it. Yeah.
Puts like a humorous spin on it, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyways,
I'll have to watch it.
Super sidetracked because we started talking on Netflix.
Yeah. And then also going back to when they won all those awards for the Academy, the president had to take his input. Did you remember this? Were you aware of this actually? Mm-hmm. When they won, he like criticized the Academy for giving a foreign film.
I didn't know that. I'm not surprised, but none of that.
But like that, just say that as someone in power. Again, like, don't do that. And like, sorry, a lot of people were complaining like they didn't want to read subtitles. I was like, just read. Like, if you read subtitles, like if you like, you're limiting yourself to so much, not even culture, just so many great films outside of the US.
It's so funny that you say that because not a single part of my experience in watching the movie did I think about the fact that I had to read subtitles.
I know, and like, so I've made so many people watch this film, and a few people were like, oh, like, I don't, like, this was like their first foreign film or whatever. Like, they had to read like subtitles, and like, I was like, listen, I get it. It's weird to like, if it's your first one, but like there's no specific cultural thing that you'll miss.
And
like,
yeah, it doesn't take, and it's not like you don't have the ability to watch and read at this, like, it, yeah.
Like, nothing, like, if anything, nothing gets taken away, nothing more is added that you don't know. Like, I'm not going in being like, hey, go watch this Korean historical drama.
So
that, like, no, it's just like real life, just in Korea.
So funny. Like, the things that I read on the screen, it was still like I heard them say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's usually how that goes.
Like, it doesn't, because...
And I watch a lot of foreign films, so, like, I'm so, like, not... It's, like, decent. Like...
Yeah, it doesn't... And it's the funny thing is, like, if people feel like it's hard to watch a foreign film, like, one of the first foreign films that I had, like,
Pan's Labyrinth?
exposed to, was Pan's Labyrinth.
So good. I have to rewatch that.
I had to watch it, like, 12 times because, like, talk about just... Oh my God! Like trying to, trying to digest what was happening, and then also, and also like,
we're also younger.
It's also harder. I mean, but even now, it's also harder because like you're talking about a lot of like mystical things. Like you don't even need to watch it with sound. Like you know what's going on in Parasite, and you can see the expressions on the people's faces, and a relatable. Like I mean. It's not necessarily like, second half, not relatable, but like the emotions and the things that people are feeling and what you're watching. It's not like some created fantasy that you have to.
No, again, I'm not telling someone to. Yeah, I'm not telling someone to literally watch like. Okay, there's like a couple, like for example, a couple of Filipino historical dramas or not dramas, films based on like history stuff. Like I'm not telling you to watch that because like you won't relate to that. Like it'd be one thing if I was raving about like something super specific to culture, but like this is so like just real life that I was like, you have to watch this just because it's such a good film.
It's
like
I think it's just a level of ignorance. Like you don't know until you know, and
it just opens you up to so many different films. Like just I think the director again was like, look, Americans, if they just read subtitles, like there's a world of films out there that they can watch.
Once you realize what is out there, it definitely piques your interest, and it definitely like you can find.
You're just so entertained more because like how many times can we watch the same American films? And like they're great. Like I like rewatch my favorites obviously, but once you dive into international films and like go into what films have been, because I'm such now like the movie buff, like what is winning awards? Like I want to know. And like they're really good films. Like I can't knock them. I think I was watching like a French animated film that won an award. Like I was like, this is great. Like this is I don't know French, but like the story was great. Like I loved it. So like it just opens up so many.
It gives you the ability to. I don't know, when you said a French animated movie, I was thinking about like an American French animated movie. Like I was thinking about Ratatouille, right?
Yeah, so, of course you were.
It's because like what other
because like what else is there
other than that? So like it's funny because I'm thinking to myself like, oh, how cool must it be to like have that from there? You know, have that from that culture, have that from that like perspective, and like it becomes more of an authentic experience.
There's so many great foreign films, and like, I mean,
you're gonna
director Bong was
under this. You're gonna write down all of the movies that you recommend. Maria's gonna share her top 10 recommendation list.
Okay. Top 10 foreign films of the last like
them
year
with all of you.
Parasite, obviously, like, duh.
And then once you watch it, come back to this video and comment below.
Yeah, Parasite, The Farewell, which is already mentioned a couple times. If you want to go the Filipino route, Buy Bust. It's an action film. It's about the drug cartels in the Philippines, and like how it's affecting, I guess, just how it's affecting everyone, and also like how the media portrays it. Because the ending is very, like the whole plot and the whole movie is very action packed, and like there's like very little dialogue or whatever. But then the last like 10 minutes, you're like, oh, so this is how the country deals with this. So like. I thought it was really great. I love the actors in that. So yeah, Buy Bust, that's on Netflix, which is great.
Cool. I can do that.
Let's see, that's 3, right? Oh shit. Maybe that's 3 for now. Because like I can't think of anything else.
I see if I put you on the spot.
Yeah, I know you did. But also I was like, yeah, I can rattle off like 5, but really it's like 3. That's probably my top 3. That's probably my top 3 like foreign films right now.
Right now, yeah.
So
that's solid.
Yeah. And they're all like East Asian. But if there's any horror film people, I watched Eerie, which is Filipino too. It's like a dumb horror film, like, but it also plays on religion, which is really, this is what I hate about like horror films when they bring in religion. I'm just like, ugh. Like, and it's like Catholic specifically.
Of course it is.
Yeah, of course it is. And like it's in the Philippines. So I'm like, yeah, I can totally see that happening in the Philippines. So
great. That's great.
Eerie. It's also on Netflix. But yeah, I think that's 4.
That's 4. That's solid. That's a good couple of days.
That's a good start.
Being to start into. But I feel like my biggest thing for this is like these are the proponents of change. Like these are the actions that cannot be undone, that are going to create waves, that are going to like create a change in the future. Because whatever we're stuck in right now, like we're going to, there's going to be a time, God knows when it is, but there's going to be a time when there's somebody in that office who's like going to say, like, we should do more of this. And there's going to be, you know what I mean? Like they're going to have, there's going to be a time when it happens. I mean, I guess my thoughts on this are like for every bad thing, like I believe in those like ebb and flows. I like believe in like the yings and yangs of energy. So like for all the bad shit that happens, like something has to come to
like the new renaissance that everyone keeps saying is going to happen afterwards.
The new renaissance. What is this? I've never heard of this before.
You're so not on social media. They're like, oh, like during the plague, like did the renaissance happen after that? Like something happened, like something blossomed, like art blossomed after that.
Why? You want to know what reference I have from the Renaissance? Is going to the Renaissance fair as a kid all the time as a kid and getting like the little geckos.
What?
We used to go to the Renaissance. So before we moved to like the town we moved to when I was really young. Checking on my slip. Our parents used to bring us to the Renaissance fair in South Jersey all the time.
Really?
Yeah, and my brother and I used to get like dressed up, and we used to get like little geckos.
You guys like, got dressed up. I'm not actually surprised.
No, why are you? They're like these. Okay, so like Italians have like these weird things that they have in their houses. I don't like. My mom has. I don't know. I don't even know where it's from. To be honest, it's like some family thing. She has, and you probably have seen it. It's like this stuffed, like giant, like rat.
Wait.
That like looks like a housemaid. I don't know how to describe.
I don't remember that at all.
It like has that like it's like made out of that like country material. Like I don't know how to.
And she still has this.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure like every once in a while she puts it in like this little Renaissance.
No, she doesn't.
Anyway, but that's
anyways. I don't know where we are anymore. Look. The end of this, I agree with you that something good is going to happen, but I don't think it's going to be the next Renaissance.
No, and you want to know what I think also, which is like probably like really sad and scary. I don't think the good that's going to come from this is going to happen like
immediately,
potentially in our lifetime.
Oh yeah, no, I think
you know what I mean. Like
this is going to go on. I mean, the effects of this will go on for decades.
Yeah. So it's like
until like there's a. I hate saying cure because as each day passes, I'm like, there's not gonna be a cure. Nope. I hate thinking like that too, but like, just some form of, I don't know.
Yeah, something's gotta.
Seasonal vaccine that we get like the flu. That'd be great.
Something's gotta give. Like I was just listening to like a doctor talk about the situation yesterday. He made some interesting comments that I don't remember now about it.
About the vaccine process?
About like the virus. And they've been finding studies that are saying that like things that come in, like they would talk about the oxychloroquine, right? And how that was just like we tried it doesn't work, move past it.
Yeah.
They're talking about how there are, oh my God, why the word is on the tip of my tongue. There are these natural properties that you find in like fruits and veggies and things that come from the ground that help your body to develop the immune system to block their receptors.
Okay.
So like how important like your diet is during a virus.
Yeah.
And like
immune system.
And there was something else he said. Because he works for a company, he works for like one of the largest like health care systems in Southern Jersey that's seen like the most cases in the state. And he was talking about it. He was talking about like just like general things for like immunity, and he was talking about like the importance of like vitamin D and calcium and magnesium, periods, and like all of this stuff. But he was saying like you have to
take care of your body.
Like it's a person-to-person experience. Like I've had so many people ask me questions about like, well, you know, like, I don't think this is enough to do for my immune system. Or like somebody will ask me, because like I work with people in wellness, and like people will tell me, and then like I used to get from my family all the time, like, well, you're not a doctor. And it's like, you're right, I'm not a doctor. Like, I don't want to do surgery. Like, I don't want to go into all of that. But like, you don't have to be a doctor to have a level of understanding of the body. Like, and like he was saying stuff, and I'm sitting there, and I like just like leaned back, and I was like,
yeah.
Okay. And it's not information that like, and I don't do it for the sake of like being an asshole. Like, I do it because I want to take care of myself, because I've experienced so many things and I want to help people around me. But like, it got to a point where I was like, well, now I don't feel like an asshole for saying the stuff that I've been saying, because like this man.
Because like, you know, right.
And yeah. And like, there's so much bullshit information that's coming out about all of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you really, like, going back to everything, like literally, what's the parasite? Like, it was so frustrating because people were just so, the level of concern like, that they should have. And like, I was reading from like a friend who was a nurse.
Yeah.
I'm debating that with her. I don't want to share her name because I don't want to make her uncomfortable, but she like works in a hospital, and she was saying how she had like a patient come in who was like an elderly man, and he was like expressing symptoms of COVID, and he had said like they tested him, and he was like, I don't understand how I could have COVID. Like, I haven't been outside in like 3 months. Like, I haven't left my house in 3 months. How could I possibly have this? And then they later found out that like he's a grandchild that's been like in and out of the house and has been going to see their friends. And it's just like,
just stay home.
You're not thinking about other people. We have it like,
I mean, that's the reason why it keeps spreading.
I'm really just getting to the point where I'm just like over, you know what I mean? Like, I'm over talking about it outside of the people who, like, my dad would be high risk and like shouldn't be doing anything, right? The levels of like self-isolation and the things that we've done are also not good for your immune system.
No, because once we're out of this and everyone that has self-isolated has gone out, your body is screwed. They're gonna be like, there's so much germs around you.
So like, now I'm thinking to myself, right, imagine what happens when, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this will happen because I don't think people will let this happen. Like, I don't think we'll be in quarantine all summer because people will absolutely lose their minds. I'm picturing like what happens when these people that have shit immune systems head out into like the fall, which is like a season where allergies start getting acting up, like seasons are changing, the flu starts to become rapid, like rapid, like how you're literally just setting people up to have a hard time.
Yeah, and like, does that mean that's the second round of isolation is during the winter season?
Telling people, and I feel like here's my issue with it too. You're telling people to cover up the issue and try to protect themselves in a really bullshit way, like a really superficial way, which is what we talked about all the time, right? Like, washing your hands and wearing a mask and wearing gloves is trying to, you're working at the end of it, right? You're working at like only like your body does not just work out here, right? Like, regardless of whether you have a mask on or not, like if something does get into your system, your mask is your SOL at that point. And if you don't have anything inside, if you're not working on, your body does not function because of what you do out here. Your body functions because of what's happening inside. So if you do not have the ability to have proper nutrition and diet, do the activities your body needs to regulate your systems. Like, if you're not doing that, you could wear as many masks. You could
wear a whole hazmat suit.
Right. You could be the boy in a bubble, and it's not going to matter, because the second you pop that bubble in any way, shape, or form, your immune system is going to be, you have no support. So it's like, why are we not offering like immuno support to people? Why, like, well, yeah, we're giving you masks. I don't like, oh, great. Like, that you're putting up, like, you're literally putting a Band-Aid in the form of a mask on somebody's face and hoping that it does the job. And then you're putting them in their houses that the air quality in a house is arguably worse than the air quality of being outside. So like, then they're fighting off shit that's in their houses. Like you, I'm waking up right now. This is the stuff that like aggravates me and makes me annoyed, because you're giving people the wrong, like, I'm not saying it's bad to do like the things that they're doing, the preventative things that they're doing, but it's not enough information. And like, it's just, I don't, like, instead of saying like, go outside, wash your hands, wear a mask, you should be talking to people about like, you know, while you're home, this is the diet that you should dive into to help support your immune system. Imagine how different it would have been if we actually addressed it like that. If we said like, if if instead of just saying like, don't leave your house, if we said like, you know, here are options for you, right?
Yeah.
Like, you are leaving your house. Let's talk about your diet. Let's talk about your activity level. Also too, like, oh my God. Okay. Also too, like, the thing that blows my mind is like, this is an immunodeficiency, like respiratory virus, right? So we close down the gyms, and then all of a sudden I'm outside going for a walk, and I see people running, like full on like running sprints. And I see people at home doing like massive HIIT trainings, and like kids, like the kids that I work with, the kids that I dance with, they're home like taking these classes and out of breath, and I'm like, oh, like you're putting your system in stress, so that if you're encountering the virus, you're more likely to deal with the consequences of it because your system is not in a health, you're under stress. Like what, like this is the level of information that people should have been getting from the beginning and just not being communicated. And
I mean, look, it's very political.
Indigestion.
This whole thing obviously arguably can be handled better. Some other nations are handling it better than us. Obviously, other nations on the flip side are also probably handling it worse. But
I just want people
to know that the virus isn't done. Just because you're bored inside, it's not fucking done.
And I don't want you, it's like going back to that instant gratification and like that level of like, nothing's gonna bother me. I just want you to take a second and find like an actual, not just Googleable, like an actual solid resource.
Like a research resource?
That like has, and especially now because we're at a point, no, we don't really understand it. We're like, anybody who says like we know this virus is full of shit. But like, look at some actual information and like see where you're getting your information about. This is a perfect time for you to learn about your body. Like, if you have any healthcare concerns or like health concerns, period, this is the perfect time for you to address them, because at the end of the day, if you have something wrong with you, there's something wrong with your whole body.
Yeah, I mean,
it's all like all of the systems are interconnected, right? Like if like the root is poison, like you gotta cut the tree down. What's that saying? If there's a something, you gotta cut the whole. There's a saying about like having poisonous, you gotta cut the tree down, something like that. Like, don't cut your tree down, but like take care of your tree. Like, figure it out. This is the opportunity for you to be. I hope that this becomes an opportunity for people to see that they have to focus on their wellness in every aspect, and that like they take the time to dive into that to help themselves.
I hope so.
Because putting a Band-Aid on it is not going to solve the problem. Putting a mask on it is not going to solve the problem. And there are all these issues with people that have like respiratory issues that can't even wear the mask, because I'm just like, oh my God. It's like,
I've had people that just normal, average people complaining about wearing a mask for like 5 minutes. And I'm just like, my mom wears this for 12 hours. Like, you can do this for 5 minutes. Like,
and right. It comes back to that, like,
don't think about yourself. Like, this is also a time
you're thinking about yourself the wrong way, right?
Right.
Like, think about what's going on in here, not in here.
Right. And like, I know a mask won't obviously fix everything, but like, if you are going out, wear a fucking mask.
Right. But also, like, take care. Like, that's the difference.
Also, yes, take care of yourself.
Wearing the mask is you showing and taking care of somebody else, right?
Yeah. And like, just
taking care of your
immune
other system is about taking care of you.
Yeah, so, like, this is a whole different. Yeah.
You have to, you just have to. You have to make the decisions, right? Like, if you think that wearing a mask is gonna and there's so many things that have been coming out that about like wearing the mask literally isn't about you. Like, you can only protect yourself from so much. It's really about you not giving anything to anybody else, right? Like, it's just
frustrating. Every time we talk about this, I just get frustrated.
Right, but this is always what we're coming back to, because this is what we live in, and it's gonna be so interesting, like 20, 30, 40 years from now, to like reflect. Like, going outside and leaving your house affects everyone. So it's like, you know what I mean? And it's not to say, just to like see as to like why that was something that like people bitch and complain about, but like we do, right? Is because like, and a lot of people who, like, if you look at the places where these people are like protesting, right? It's like how many like the people that live in like the areas that we live in are people that are often traveling, right? And like can do the international stuff, and like we're very like the business world, the corporate world, like very different. Like how common is that in these places where those people are protesting? You know what I mean? Like it's different experiences. So it's like it went from like we don't have a choice as a like in terms of, and that's the difference too, I guess, between like actual like what seems like physical safety and like physical threats, and like then it's also like a level of like patriotism, right, because of everything that happened that led to that. And it's like now it's like a social, now it's like biological wellness and biological welfare warfare, and it's like people just don't
they don't have that knowledge. I don't know,
being on like they don't give, because health is not a value of them, right? Like health, like they want to live, but like at the same time it's like we don't value our health as like being something that directly correlates to whether we, I can't come up with an actual like reason. These are all theories of like fathoming like why you possibly think this way, but that's the only reason why I can think that is that people just like they're like you're super out of touch with it, and like you are who you are because of your experiences. If you lived in a place where you've been so unscathed by anybody trying to tell you what you can and cannot do,
maybe that's it.
Getting this level of like
authoritativeness,
authority, and you're like absolutely not. Like I mean, like you can't, not like literally is me, like you can't blame people, right? Like I don't like to be told what to do. Like obviously this isn't about me, so like I don't have an issue with it, but you know, it's how do you if you took off the leash, how do you put the leash back on? We've been in serious levels of quarantine. Like you probably, like people that are, you know, living in Western countries probably aren't experiencing the same level of quarantine that we've been experiencing, or experiencing it with the people that are close to them, that we're like, or their neighbors, or like your lives are just different. You guys live very differently than we do in terms of like relatively closeness. Like we are very close to each other all the time.
Yeah.
Because we live in a populated area. Like it's different, and I get it, but like we understand what it feels like to be in quarantine. Like we get it, and we're still doing it because at the end of the day, I'm not going to go out there and be an asshole and make somebody else's have to worry about getting their father sick. Like that's really what it comes down to. And if you don't have if you can't grasp that in any way, shape, or form,
I feel sorry if you can't grasp that. I feel like at the end of the day, like if you don't have someone that you think of like before you go out and like, you know, whatever, like that, I feel so bad for you that you don't have that experience.
Yeah.
To like not be able to care for other people.
And you know what's interesting too? There's actually a book that I just was like listening to that the doctor was talking about yesterday, and it was talking about how they did studies on like monks about their immunity, because they have like these high functioning immunities.
Their diet is incredible.
Well, aside from that, they also like, so you have like this like your thyroid, right? That like is right in the center, the epicenter of like your chest, and it's very closely related to like your heart channel, like your heart energy, like your heart chakra, essentially. And they have like very high levels of like compassion. And
I can see that, yes. Like, I mean, yeah, that's their whole belief.
Right. And they there's like research that like can say, like statistically saying that like their high levels of compassion, because it's so close to like when they feel something on like a deep level, it's resonating in that area, which is keeping their thyroid active, and your thyroid's what regulates all of like your lymphatic system and the systems that flush your body of toxins. And it's just like, well, that makes sense. And then if you look at all of the people who like are choosing not to be compassionate right now, like what, like it's like, yeah, it's like the story of Scrooge, right? Like go back to like, let's like make it really, really relatable. Like he was an ass. Yeah. He was sick and he was miserable and he was gonna die. And then like what happened when he became compassionate? Like if you want to make it like, I know, make it a relatable thing, like if you, and it talks about how it speaks to how like you need to be connected to your humanness, because if you lose that, you're effed. Yeah. So I really hope that we can figure that out. What makes me concerned is the level of like normalcy I have in it now.
You do you have a routine now? Like everything's normal to you now?
Like like it feels
like it is what it is.
And that like hurts my heart, I feel like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I had a moment like yesterday. I was like, well, this sucks. Like,
this is where we're at.
This is it? Like,
yeah.
Like, this is it. Like, this is my...
The upside of this is that me and my cats go outside now.
I know, I see your Instagram story.
And it's enjoyable.
I mean, outside is nice.
Some pets. You want to learn about being compassionate? Get some pets.
A lot of people that have pets aren't that compassionate either.
Well, that's true. I guess you really have to have a level of compassion before you get a pet, because otherwise it's like, I also feel that way about having children. Like, you have to have a level of like,
I mean, yeah, like,
to have a child, it's not gonna.
But like, not everyone.
If you don't have like that nurturing.
But that's not true. Oh my God! Wait.
Into immunity for yourself. Otherwise, just gonna cringe more.
To tie everything, together at the end. One of the first things I want to do when everything opens up is to go to the fucking movie theater. Like, literally one of the first things I want to do, besides see my best friend. Like,
Maria wants to go out in public and then disassociate from public almost immediately.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I do when I go out in public. Is just
disassociate. Yeah, yep. I don't blame you. See, like,
just
I want to be outside and just not be around anybody either. So I don't. Yeah, I'm.
First thing I want to do, guys. Literally, I just want to go to a movie theater and just sit in the back by myself and just watch a film.
So if we can, we will have a local Be More gathering once this opens and we're allowed to do that. And
6 feet apart, please.
we will just invite people. So if you are down and in on that, definitely reach out to us and we'll organize it. But those will be our events. Be More at the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Yep.
That's so funny.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Be More Podcast. We hope that you guys are staying as sane as we are in quarantine, and we will see you on the next episode.
Okay, bye.
Oh, God.